What is up? It is your girl M here with Just Ask M as well as Chic Fashion by M. I am joined by Danyar, and if you remember his face, we first started with the polishing of the Casa de boots. That in itself was an amazing experience, but outside of that, he is also a jack of many trades and just curator of so many different things. So reintroduce
Yeah.
yourself.
So I'm Danyar. I own Buffalo Leather Care. I've been doing leather care and leather restoration now officially for about 2 years, so to speak, where it's been publicly advertised. But I've been working with leather for many years now. Quite a fan of different fashions, different textiles,
Hmm.
and a lot of where my expertise, I guess, would come into play would be older garments, older workwear. I guess that's where my
Yeah.
knowledge really shines.
Okay. I mean, and just in the short time of knowing you, you seem to be so savvy with amazing finds, quality products, the vintage looks.
Yeah,
You curated this wonderful wall
yeah.
behind you. Tell us a
Thank
little
you.
bit about it.
The it was all kind of just thrown together from things I've curated over time, and that's what a lot of people think curating kind of means just throwing things together and
Mm-hmm.
kind of just making it look good. Curating is really about acquiring things over a span of time and
Mm-hmm.
kind of finding the right place for it in and of
Right.
itself. Not every piece up here started up here.
Right.
It was at different walls and at
Yeah.
different stages until it all kind of culminated to the point where you had enough to, put something like this together. Like
Mm-hmm.
the deer antlers are
Oh yeah,
a
I didn't
friend of
see those.
mine.
Okay.
These were the first deer that he shot. So
Oh.
he kind of gave me those as like a
Yeah.
sentimental reminder of him. A couple of these oil paintings have been thrifted. A
Okay.
lot of thrifting goes on with me. And I personally I don't like to pay full price for
Oh,
anything.
right.
So
Who needs to these
right,
days?
right. So I think that if you actually like look for something long enough and you kind of
Mm-hmm.
like let something find you, it's a lot
Yes.
more special in the way that it
Right.
it looks in your home.
Hmm. And I love that because these days everything's so efficient and
Yeah.
instant and made quicker. But like you said, like even like with certain housing, you can tell the houses that are new built versus the ones with character,
Yeah, yeah,
and
absolutely.
like things like this, like you said, it's not finding it all at once. Even in my personal life, I'm like, not everything, I don't want everything perfect. Like there's
Yeah,
certain things, but then it's like I said, like, yeah, let's mismatch it. Let's,
yeah.
one bigger than the other, so you actually you find comfort in that, but that also creates like a uniqueness.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a bit of beauty in chaos, and I
Yeah.
think like we often as human beings, we that's why people look at, those paintings of like just like splatter of
Abstract,
paint.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like people find beauty in that, and to
Hmm.
them that's there's something there. It
Hmm.
speaks to them. So I
Yeah.
think it's just about what speaks to you, and I think there's a lot of that with fashion. Like I think often you can kind of tell people who,
Mhm.
when you look at them and you're like, oh, you've got great fashion taste, I bet your house looks really
Right.
amazing. You know
And
what I
I
mean?
love that. And I'm so big on that because I'm like, people really underestimate the power of that, where it's just like, you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
Yes, the effort that you put into your appearance will kind of demand the respect and how you want to
Yeah.
be addressed. When you walk into rooms, what is your first perception, with
Yeah.
people?
And I think a lot of the times too is a lot of people feel uncomfortable dressing a certain way because they feel like they're maybe out of style or out of
Standing
character.
out.
Yeah, yeah, but I think a lot of that really comes down to the fact that we're not appreciating older things, or really
Yeah.
taking into consideration why things are the way they were made.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like for instance, back in the day, a lot of shoes were made of leather because people didn't have the money to swap out like
You held on to them for like
shoes.
10 years or more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then they got passed down to like your little brother, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like a lot of shoes back in the day were made of leather for that reason, and like thick, hardy leather.
Better quality.
Right, absolutely. And so there's that. You have people who had clothing that was made of wool
Mm-hmm.
or 100% duck cotton, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? And that kind of that kind of textile is no longer available
Yeah.
at the price range that it was. Back
Mm-hmm.
then, it was almost like it's like the going like, yeah, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
like high quality denim was like it was just the regular denim. Now
Mm-hmm.
we have so much cheaply made denim that there is a difference between high quality and a low quality tier
Right.
denim. So it all comes into play when you go into the changing of the times and the
Yeah.
way that the fashion trend has become, like you said, it's become more fast paced, more
Yeah.
accessible. We want more like
Variety.
not even variety. I would say you see a lot of people ordering off of Shein because it's just quicker for them, or like fashion trends are often changing over so
Yeah.
much that people can't keep up with it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you have like base garments in your clothing
Mm-hmm.
section or in your closet at home that you can kind of alternate and
Yeah.
and and get a little variety going, and they all have their own purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you need too much. I don't think you need a massive closet as
Less is
I
more.
yeah.
And like you said, too, I think there's also a beauty in like what you just explained of how things were made. It actually also taught you how to value things more because once you got that thing, you had to take care of it because that's all you were getting for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah, yeah,
And I think that's also an understanding with fashion where when you see this crazy high price tag, there's also an understanding of Italian made.
yeah,
This is a higher quality leather, the stitching, the
yeah,
designing that goes into actually creating it, the dynamic of if it's a heel, but it looks high, but it doesn't feel as high, the insole,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like all those like details. It's made with better quality, much longer period of time, and if you take care of it, it's going to last you longer, maybe even a lifetime.
yeah. Like for instance, the boots I'm wearing right here. These
Mm-hmm.
are a pair of Acme boots
Okay.
from the 70s. From it's they're made in the USA,
Okay.
and I got these off of shopgoodwill.com.
I
The
did not even know that was a
Yeah,
thing.
they have Goodwill has their own online auction site.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you want to be addicted,
Yeah.
go ahead, you can get your addiction on.
Okay.
These boots are probably back in the day, $300-400 boots.
I
They were a
believe it.
direct competitor with Fry.
Okay.
Now, the thing is after a while, Acme kind of disappeared, but their boots are still top quality
Mm-hmm.
boots. These heels they're a stacked leather heel, as we've talked about. It's a lot more expensive than just getting like a rubber
Right.
heel
Okay.
that gets thrown on there. If if you have a stacked heel
Mm-hmm.
and you walk a certain way where your heel starts to wear down,
Mm-hmm.
you can actually tear those pieces of leather off and replace them with new stacks of
Oh,
leather to get a better heel that's not, you know,
yes. Hollow.
not even hollow, but it's being diminished from the way you walk and your
Right.
posture. Sometimes you'll see people who have a heel that's like, I mean, their shoe is like bent all the way over
Right.
to the side.
Right.
But it's because of the way that they walk and like their
Mm-hmm.
posture. So, but their shoes are cheaply made.
Yeah.
Nowadays they're made of, foam.
I can attest to that because I am a heavy walker. I walk with
Yeah,
attitude, as you
yeah,
said
yeah,
when you had seen those. You said you walk with attitude, and I
yeah,
had a pair of boots, the high ones with the lower heel,
yeah,
and I felt the heel like weakening on me, so I did have to take it to my cobbler, and he redid it.
yeah,
But I also have the fry boots of those, and I noticed the difference of I could walk with all my
yeah,
strut attitude, but it's solid. There's
yeah.
no like you can. There's no hesitance.
Yeah, and it sounds more solid when you're
Yes.
walking. If you've
Yep.
noticed that too, like even with me when I walk with these boots, I go to class with these boots sometimes, and I can like hear myself walking down the hall. It's like gadunk,
It's like a
gadunk.
principal down the
Yeah, no,
hallway.
yeah, and I see people like looking at me like, what the fuck? And, like, I kind of have to, but yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think I think good quality shoes really like make or break an outfit.
they do. And
I
like you said, just so much use out of it without having to have so many.
Yeah, and I think one a shoe can really determine whether the entire rest of the outfit
Mm-hmm.
works.
Yeah.
If I was to be wearing like a pair of, Hoka running sneakers with these, it would look off.
Yeah.
Like you'd be like, what is up with this guy? He looks weird. But like with the style of like the white linen shirt, you've
Yeah.
got the, the 80s, Levi denim jacket, you've got the 70s, everything kind of
Meshes,
fits, yeah,
yeah.
and kind of melds together
Mm-hmm.
to where you're like, oh, okay, this guy, like, okay, I
Yeah,
see what
I
you're
get
doing. Yeah, I get it.
it.
You don't have to necessarily look at someone and be like, yo, that person's got style, because
Mm-hmm.
no one's style is directly attributed to the same
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
But you can go, I see what you're doing there. I
Right.
like that.
And it's like the fun with fashion is the creativity that can go into it, where it's just
Yeah,
like, well, how are you feeling today?
yeah,
What season is it? Like you
yeah,
said, where are you going Western? Are you going comfortable? Is it date night? There's so many endless possibilities, which
yeah,
kind of adds that wonder to the outfit. So yeah, so like I said, the Cassidy boots, that's where you and I started.
yeah,
You gave a little description of those, but we're gonna have a little fun with some different outfits and get
yeah. Little
Danyar's
outfits, nice.
critiques and go into a couple more different shoe
Yeah,
options we have.
yeah.
And we are back, y'all. Here we have, if you remember, an outfit I used recently for a photo shoot, but Danyar added a couple twists and turns to it, including the fry boots.
Yeah, yeah. So I think like this outfit is definitely more like rodeo, like hoedown inspired, and it's definitely got more of that like I'm going to go watch some guys get on some bulls and go get like bucked off.
I
Like
do
that's
like a
the
good
vibe.
country concert, so I'll keep
Right,
this outfit in mind.
right. So this is like the perfect like
Yeah.
country concert outfit.
Comfy,
Yeah, comfy. You're not
warm.
like breaking yourself. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's like it's a comfy outfit.
Yes.
If you're cold, you got like the little like it's a fox suede,
Yes.
kind of shirt. But if you
Then
want, yeah,
then if you get hot, take a little off. But
yeah,
I love a multi-purpose outfit where Buffalo, you get four seasons
yeah,
in an hour.
yeah,
So this is perfect. Don't play. Let's get a little cowgirl hat
yeah,
going.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes. And like he was saying earlier, so these are actually fry boots. Just talking about that stacked heel again. I know you
Yeah,
mentioned if you had any issues with the sole of the shoe, you can practically
you can,
resew a new one
yeah,
on.
yeah, you definitely could, and that's why they're so. I mean, that's one of the reasons they're so expensive is because of the fact that they do put in the extra quality
Right.
and the extra care to make sure that you get that longevity out of your
Mm-hmm.
boot rather than a lot of other companies now their 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 model is make a boot that looks good but it's cheap, it's going to wear out, so that way they need to buy a new one from us in 1 to 2 years,
Correct.
you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Fry,
That quality.
they still have quality. They have done some things that I'm not a fan of,
Okay.
and this goes to corporate greed, right?
Yeah.
Where
As
you've
always.
got outsourcing of,
Yeah.
American jobs. Fry boots used to be made in America.
Okay.
Solely in America. You had some boots that would be
Mm-hmm.
made in Mexico because it was a little bit cheaper at the
Mexico.
time. Those ones are made in Mexico. They're still a better quality.
Yes.
Some Fry boots now are actually being made in China
Yeah.
with a super thin it's almost so leather is measured on an ounce gradiency
Okay.
rather than like a thick, so that's how they kind of measure the thickness, is
Okay.
in ounces. You're getting 1 to 2 ounce in terms of thickness with leather
Mm-hmm.
and some of these things, and it's like these shoes are not going to last.
Yeah.
That's the corporate greed that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's why you also see older Fry boots are so much more in demand now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
probably lasting longer than the new stuff.
Absolutely.
So you switched yours out. What do we have here?
Yeah, yeah. So I got my outfit. I got a pair of another pair of Acme boots here.
Okay.
And so I got these. These are more of like a Western kind of
Mm-hmm.
feel. And I just, same thing. Levi's 7. These are 501s, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are the Levo 501s. And then just got just like a Land's End flannel.
Okay. I used to work for Land's End. They were great.
And like this kind of has more of like a barn hand, like
Yeah.
rodeo, like
Yeah.
lumberjack kind of feel. And
We're
it's like-
ready.
right? And like so, this goes to the usefulness of like I was actually wearing this outfit the other day when
Okay.
I was like chopping down a tree. Like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
A
Like,
little modern day Paul
right.
Bunyan.
So it's like, it's like I
Yeah.
recognize like halfway through the day, I'm like, oh, like I look kind of like a lumberjack,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I guess I'm doing like
Technically,
lumberjack. So
right.
it's like it has its, and the
Yeah.
reason why I was wearing a flannel is because I wanted something that I could kind of take off if I wanted to, you know what I mean? If it
While
got too
working.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that day it was also going to rain, and it was also so like I wanted something that I could kind of stay a little
Yeah.
warm in and stay dry in. So all those things kind of go into an outfit,
Yes.
and what is your purpose and what are you doing with that
Yes. And I
outfit?
love that. And that's like I said, like number one, less is more because you can see you
Yeah.
made the combination of same pants you had on, you just swapped out the shirt and the boots.
Yep.
This was a photo shoot outfit that I wore this for. Would have never thought to put the fry boots, and
Yeah.
you told me to add this top, like
Yeah.
you said, you add a little accessory, you tie it in the front,
Yeah.
roll the sleeves up, and now you have a whole different look
Yeah.
and combination,
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like you said, it's about what you're wearing, what's the purpose of that outfit, what you're
Yeah.
even going to be doing that day. Me,
Yeah.
I pull a lot of long days. I might need flats in the morning. I want to get fancy by happy hour, throw some heels on, and there you go. But I'm wearing the
Right.
same outfit.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So
And it's having like a base that you throw little
Right.
accessories onto that make it different.
yes,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
All right, we're gonna swap out. Check out our next outfit choice.
Alrighty.
Go on, stretch your stuff. So we have Danyar here, just looking like a little Peaky Blinder look, aka New York City. Let's talk about the sophistication.
So I believe it or not, this entire outfit was thrifted.
Love it, and you would never know.
No, and you would never know because there's all high quality items here. Let me just. Yeah, so this is a Riverside Men's Shop wool coat.
Okay, a wool. Okay.
Yeah, it's made of wool, and the reason why it's made of wool is because wool is naturally waterproof,
Okay.
and so if you're walking in the rain, it's
It's
perfect.
repelling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It also doesn't hold odors the same way other fibers like polyester does.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
So this was thrifted. This was about $12 at like an outlets.
That is
And, I mean,
amazing.
back in the day, this jacket would have cost you anywhere from $200 to $300, maybe even more.
Wow.
Absolutely amazing. This shirt, it's a Brooks Brothers
Okay.
shirt. I got it for. I literally pulled the tag off of it in the other room
Yeah.
as I was putting this on. I think it was like $7.
Crazy.
Vintage Brooks Brothers. It's what caught my attention with it is that it's a single stitch tailoring. So
Okay.
if you actually look at some tags or into some brands in general, like Brooks Brothers. So the thing that people don't actually know about Brooks Brothers is that Brooks Brothers has been worn by a lot of famous people in terms of like, for instance, Abraham Lincoln wore Brooks Brothers.
That's how far back it goes. It's crazy.
They've been around since 1818.
Wow.
Amazing history. These pants I was actually gifted. Big thing to look for if you are into thrifting. Your local community most likely has a buy nothing page.
Okay.
So if you go on Facebook and you type in your local community, if you type in buy nothing or for free, most people will have like where they're giving away baby clothing or like booster seats, things that they just don't need anymore. And a lot of people give away clothing. Well, I'm currently in a more affluent part of town, so the group that I joined, they were giving away a suit. And the suit jacket is currently being tailored,
Okay.
but the pants fit me perfectly.
Okay. Gotcha.
And these are actually a pair of it's a Christian Dior suit.
Oh.
And I mean, if I hadn't just said, yeah, I'll come pick it up.
Yeah.
And like just off the off chance.
Right.
And then it turns out to be a Christian Dior suit that, I mean, when I looked at the suit jacket, the pocket lining where it normally is stitched and you have to unstitch it to get to the pockets, it was still stitched shut. So
Wow.
it was almost as if it had been,
Original.
yeah, like it had
Okay.
never been worn. So these shoes, they're a pair of double strap monk shoes from Fry.
Okay.
They're from around
Oh,
2010. I
okay.
thrifted these for about $100.
That's and like it once again, just with it being Fry, like you said, the stack
Yeah,
heel, you would get
yeah.
so many years
Yeah,
use out of
yeah, and
them.
and and the person that had them wore them. They said maybe about 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, for a pair of shoes like
Yeah.
this, that's practically brand new.
I
These
mean,
are,
barely creased.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm incredibly
Okay.
happy with them. They're my size, which is very
Yes.
hard to find with shoes. But having kind of like this old school, like elegant look, like with your outfit, what we
Mm-hmm.
put together. So we've got the boots, but we've also got this wide leg look that
Mm-hmm.
if you sit down and you cross your leg, it reveals more of the boot,
That's never
which,
ending.
right, and it's never ending, which kind of draws in more of an appeal. So
Right.
so it's almost like it's inviting, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's seductive. It
Yeah.
brings in more of it brings more character and more
Mm-hmm.
elegance to the outfit than if you were to just rock a pair of like
Yeah.
ankle boots.
Right.
Right? I don't think that would complete that look
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, because the thing with me is I like to have natural fibers with everything that I'm doing, and
Yeah.
the more natural fibers you can incorporate into your outfit,
Mm-hmm.
I think the better your outfit can look. For instance, the pants are 100% wool,
Mm-hmm.
the shirt 100% cotton, the shoes are full leather.
Okay.
Like the same with yours. Your shoes are full leather, and
Mm-hmm.
the less you can have of yourself exposed, a
Mm-hmm.
garment is supposed to
That's
be a
class and
protection.
elegance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Showing more
it's
skin doesn't mean sexier. We're like you
yes.
said, my outfit, first of all, it's literally all black.
Yes.
But the depicting factors are these are leather. This is a
Yes.
different material. My top is a different
Right.
material. So in its own way, it's still different, even though it's the same color. It's
Yes.
seductive but classy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And
Balance.
it's seductive in a way where you're showing femininity with the
Mm-hmm.
arms rather than showing cleavage,
Right.
so to
Right.
speak. So it's a different level of elegance and grace that it brings
Yes.
into the outfit. And that's also the things that we can be seductive without coming out halfway naked.
Right.
You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
That's the thing with outfits, is that people don't understand. If you can look good,
Hmm.
almost like wrapped up, you can
Exactly.
look
Imagine.
good, right?
Leave
With
something for the memory. And if you
right,
have a man, not every man needs to be seeing what you have, you
yeah,
know? I think
absolutely,
there's also a sexiness in that too, where it's like, you know what you have, but you don't feel like you need to show it all or all at once, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I
Less is more.
I agree with that, and I think like me personally, like me being Middle Eastern, me being Muslim
Mm-hmm.
origin and being Muslim myself, I do believe in like modesty is like a
Yes.
great sign, and I think that when there is a bit of modesty at play,
Hmm.
it it's like, oh wow, like okay, this is for me, like you know what I
Yeah,
mean. It makes
right.
the man feel definitely a bit more special.
Preserves the integrity.
Yes,
Yeah, and I've
absolutely.
seen some, because you talk about stuff and then your social media hears and puts
Yeah,
it into the algorithm, whatever it is. And I've, sometimes occasionally I have like the Middle Eastern women pop up.
yeah.
Their outfits are absolutely stunning and
Amazing,
gorgeous and
amazing.
literally like so
And
covered up.
and they're varying so much from different
Right.
regions. It's like every different region has their own
Yes.
flavor and their own different aspects. So it's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of looking into different cultures and looking into a lot of my inspiration as well with how I like to dress. It's old school New York. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that.
Okay.
Like 80s, 90s, maybe even like 70s New York.
Okay.
A lot of like that Giorgio Armani
Yes.
triangular kind of cut suit with the pleated pants, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that. But you've also got a lot of like Western wear,
Yeah.
a lot of like workwear, and it speaks to what I do on my day to day. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my regular day to day, I'm a contractor. So, I will be, cutting down a tree or,
Right.
putting up drywall, and I will look more like you said, like a
Yeah,
Paul
you're not
Bunyan
wearing
kind of
this.
look. Right, exactly. Now, if I'm going to meet with, let's say, an attorney or someone who,
Mm-hmm.
has something important going on, or if I have to go to an important meeting, I will wear something more like
Right.
this.
Appropriate.
And I think it all speaks to your level of confidence. I think it
Mm-hmm.
boosts your confidence when you dress
Yeah.
well. I think certain people don't understand that what you wear quite literally affects you. Like
Yeah.
wearing less polyesters, wearing more organic materials.
Mm-hmm.
It actually affects the way that your body, you know, processes stress. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're wearing more organic materials like cottons, if you sweat, your body doesn't really notice it. If you're wearing
Okay.
polyesters,
Yeah. It's gonna let you know.
you're gonna know. You're gonna let everyone
Yeah.
else in the room know too, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things where when we start looking at what are we wearing, a lot of it goes into textiles, natural fibers, and just making sure that we can start incorporating more natural fibers into our clothing.
Yeah. And like I said, and I think like there's so much depth to things you don't think there would be depth to. You
Yeah.
know, and like you said, you know, you look good, you feel good, but
Yeah.
also for me it's like a form of self-care. You know, how much are you investing into yourself and into your appearance in the sense of do you feel like your value is worthy of only Sheen or are you going for brands like Cassidy or the you know the Brook Brothers or the
Yeah.
Acme's or the Fry, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So I think it also, like you said, it's a mindset thing in the sense of what are you investing in yourself? You might be spending a little more just on one piece, but that one piece is going to last you much longer. And then when
Yeah.
you wear it, it's just a statement piece versus just an everyday blouse or pant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and kind of going back to our point on thrifting, if you know where to look and
Mm-hmm.
you know where to shop, you don't need to spend all that
You
money.
don't.
I mean, I've shown you some of the boots that I've
Mm-hmm.
thrifted, and I mean, I'm paying no more than $10 a pair on
Yeah.
average for some of these shoes that are worth upwards of 50 to 100 to $200.
Yeah.
And these are, you know, these are shoes that are an amazing quality. I don't get
Mm-hmm.
shoes that I don't think I can resell. You know,
Right.
a lot of when I go to when I go to the thrift store now, I'm not looking so much for my personal closet because my closet's full,
Right.
but I'm looking for reselling.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking at reselling, I'm looking at high quality garments, high quality wool garments.
But I think what I love about that is it's almost like you're teaching others in the sense of, hey, like this is still okay to wear. Like, hey, in case you
Yeah.
forgot about this quality, it does still exist. Where even with some of my outfits, I literally have not shopped for like new clothing in probably too long.
Yeah.
But you see how I do different combinations or,
Yeah.
you know, just mixing and matching where, yes, less is more. Just because you have a lot of pieces doesn't mean it creates more outfits. Whereas you're buying pieces that can combine with others and create a variety of a wardrobe, even with a small amount, you know?
Yeah, I also definitely think that people need to look into what certain materials do
Mm-hmm.
what to your body,
Yeah.
because there are certain materials that actually block sweat. Like for
Mm-hmm.
instance, people who get the anti-wrinkle shirts,
Okay.
that's all coated with chemicals that are
Mm,
harmful. So that is being absorbed into your pores, and it's actually causing a lot of blockages in people's glands and their
mm,
lymph nodes. So if you didn't know that now, like now
yeah.
you do. So, and I've spoken to some people who, you know, they're like, oh yeah, I can't wear such and such. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, no, it's not that you can't wear that. It's that you can't wear this type of material.
Mm-hmm.
And that company is very cheap and they only
Mm-hmm.
use that
Yeah.
material.
Right. It's not the original material that it was once was.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
you've got a lot of polyester, a lot of spandex
Mm-hmm.
being used that holds in sweat.
Yeesh.
Like, you know, a lot of athletic brands.
Right.
You know, you think you're getting something amazing because you're buying polyester. Like that thing is going to make you sweat even
Right.
more.
And
And
keep it close to your
yeah,
body.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so I mean, there's a science to anything and everything, genuinely.
Yeah,
This was amazing. I've
yeah.
learned so much. Like you said, you don't have to spend a lot necessarily to be
No,
fashionable,
no.
but also have quality. So do some research, figure out what your budget is, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
Figure out, what clothing options will fit you best, material options, what your goal of the outfit is, what look are you going for, comfort.
I would also say if you're gonna start thrifting for clothes, it's very easy to get into a pattern where you start buying and buying and buying because you think you need it.
Right.
I would say,
Be intentional.
yeah, be intentional. And the way to do that is when you walk into a store, give yourself a time limit. I'm going to spend no more than 15 minutes here. I am going to spend no more than $25 here, whatever
Right.
it is. And if you do break that budget, you have to have at least 3 reasons to justify it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that I like to do. And if you can do that, you can start piecing together a closet where you're like, okay, I really like that outfit, and start looking into inspirations. Like, I really like Doug Billmeyer. He's the executive director for the designs in the Ralph Lauren Double RR stores.
Okay.
And those stores are more Western workwear, Americana kind of
Okay.
vibe. And there's a lot of tweed, a lot of wool, a lot of, leathers. There's a lot of that being at play in those garments. And I think if you start looking to those people to get inspirations, you can walk into a thrift store with a better idea of what
you're
want
even right, because you can so easily go down a rabbit hole of
exactly,
and then when you get home, you're not even combining them together well.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
But Danyar, jack of many trades, leather industry by day, very handy. It's also the season of landscaping you mentioned before, so you also offer those services.
Yeah, I'm a landscaper contractor.
I mean, budgeting and thrifting and shopping on a budget while obtaining quality, this is your guy. So this has been very, very knowledgeable. I do think people need to get a little more invested in their appearance and what they're letting touch, put on their bodies.
And even in your home, like, I mean, like with the art wall, like, I mean, I've put time together and getting some of these like art pieces and like some of these oil paintings, and I'm shopping for vintage oil paintings, vintage
There's no
mirrors.
rush.
Yeah, there's no rush.
Yeah.
Everything will come together in time.
Yes.
Just know that quality is better than quantity.
It is. And like you said, just you mentioning a couple times, inspiration, it doesn't happen overnight. Inspiration happens in conversation, in different outfits, and complimenting somebody. For you, all the different industries you work with, thrifting, you might see different things and it inspires you to change something in your house,
No, absolutely. I mean, this was literally because my friend, I went to her house and she's got an amazing wall. So I was like, I gotta steal this idea.
There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that, inspiration from different pieces. And I feel like that is what creates culture, tradition, and just that mix of what humanity could and should be.
Absolutely.
So you heard it here on Just Ask M, but I'm super excited to be able to combine it with chic fashion by M. Like I said, this is Danyar. He's absolutely amazing. Started with the Cassidy boots. If you need any polishing of real leather just to preserve them, this is definitely your guy. And support local.
Yeah, let's support local.
Absolutely. Make sure you subscribe and keep tuning in.
Bye.